There are many ways to get Windows 7 onto your home computer, but when you're a network administrator, you want a method that lets you configure many computers at the same time. Let's take a look at a few, but not all of our choices. For the goals of this course, we don't need to know all the detailed steps, but we do need to know what our options are. You already know that you can put the Windows 7 DVD into your DVD drive and then reboot your computer to start the install. You could also put the contents of the DVD on a USB flash drive and then tell your computer to boot from the USB drive. Not all USB drives support this process. The first step would be to use the diskpart command utility to format and partition the USB drive. We would then use the xcopy command to copy an image of our DVD called an ISO file to the USB drive. This USB drive could then be taken to each computer. You would tell each computer to boot from the USB drive. This is done by changing the main setup program of the computer known as the BIOS settings. The computer would start and be ready to begin the installation just as if you had put a DVD in the DVD player. Another method requires you to copy the contents of the DVD to a folder on a company file server. You make it available or share it with the users. This is called a network share. You boot each computer to a bootable floppy disk. You connect to the network share and begin the installation. This is often accomplished with a script. A script is a series of instructions stored in a file. Like the steps in a recipe, the computer follows and executes each step in order. This method is not as common as it used to be. Many computers no longer have floppy disk drives. A better method would be through the use of Windows Deployment Services. WDS lets you automatically install Windows 7 on many computers at the same time. The process involves little or no intervention from the user. WDS is included with the Windows Server product line. It is a role that is installed on the server. Microsoft offers a free set of tools called the MDT, or Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, for download. These tools allow you to make copies of an already installed computer called an image. Let's look at an overview of the process. In the first step, you install Windows 7 on a computer and configure it with any additional software and settings that you desire. A program called sysprep is then run to remove all identifying information from the computer. Otherwise, each computer made from this one would have the same name and security identifiers. Next, WDS is used to make an image of this computer and store it in a central location. In the next step, each computer is configured to do a PXE boot. The network interface card, or NIC, in each computer has the ability to boot and connect to the WDS server using information contained in a special chip on the card. This replaces the need for a bootable floppy disk. You just set the BIOS to boot from the NIC. The computer connects to the WDS server. You get a choice of images to download. The server delivers a complete image of Windows 7 with all software settings and drivers to the computer. This process can happen on many computers at the same time, known as multicasting. When each computer restarts, the user just has to answer a few questions, such as what name to use for the computer. This is still a lot easier than the other methods. That's why it's called LTI, or Light Touch Installation. You can even give each computer the answers to all the final questions. They are put in a custom file called an unattend file. Large corporations may use a Microsoft Server product called SCCM, or System Center Configuration Manager, to deliver images. In this process, an image is automatically deployed to each computer. Each computer is remotely started using a method known as Wake on LAN. This means the SCCM server is able to remotely boot each workstation through the network. The computer is booted, the image is installed, and the new computer is shut down and ready for use. The entire process can be automated to happen on a predefined schedule. No end-user involvement is needed. This is called ZTI, or Zero Touch Installation. It's important to note that whatever the method, each computer needs a product key. For home use, each product key is unique. If your computer came with Windows 7 already installed, you will find it on the Certificate of Authenticity sticker on the computer. If you bought the software separately, it's usually found on a sticker on the DVD case. Companies often use a key that can be activated several times called a Volume License Multiple Activation Key, or VLM. This key can be entered manually or as part of the unattend file that we discussed earlier. Note that even if we put the product key in the unattend file, we must still activate the computer. That is, the computer must connect to Microsoft and have the product key validated for use. In an earlier module, we examined the concepts of remote desktop and remote assistance. Both products involve sitting at one computer and working on another computer as if you were there. This is known as client virtualization. Let's take a look at what we need to do for these concepts to work. Remember that remote assistance is used when you want to help somebody remotely connect on their computer. They must send you an invitation in order for you to connect. You both see the same screen at the same time. With Remote Desktop, there is only one user accessing two computers at the same time. If we look at the properties of our computer, we can see the remote settings. I'm just going to right-click on the computer and choose Properties. Notice from the address bar that we could have also used Control Panel. We will look at the remote settings. You can see that the top section must be checked in order for us to ask for remote assistance from someone else. If I want to allow someone to remote into this computer, I need to check one of these two boxes. The bottom option is more secure, but only works with computers running Windows 7 or later. It is important to be sure that the Windows Firewall is set to allow remote desktop. The firewall filters all transmissions to and from your computer, allowing only those specific transmissions that you choose. We could use Control Panel, but I will just type Firewall in the search box. I will choose Allow a program through Windows Firewall. I'll need to check the box for the appropriate firewall profile. The public profile is used when you're connected to a public network, such as in a cafe. The private profile is used when you're connected to a home network, and the domain profile is used when your computer is connected to a work network as part of a domain. Notice that the boxes are not even checkable until I hit the Change Settings button. This is to prevent accidental opening of the firewall. You've seen that we can use Remote Desktop and Remote Assistance to have a virtual experience on another computer. We can also have a virtual experience right on our own computer. This is called Windows XP mode. With XP mode, you will run a virtual Windows XP computer on top of your Windows 7 desktop. This will allow you to install and run software that was made for Windows XP and is not compatible with Windows 7. XP mode is not included with Windows 7, but you can download it for free from the Microsoft website as part of Virtual PC. Starting Windows XP mode gives you a licensed copy of Windows XP that opens in its own window. You can access your real hard drive from the virtual machine so you can copy files back and forth.